Hey everyone! Today we're diving into something we all think we know pretty well, our health. But what if there's a whole lot more to it than just, not being sick? Let's dig in and figure out what being truly healthy means in the world we live in today. So let's start with that big question. Seriously, when you hear the word healthy, what's the first image that pops into your head? Is it just about not having a cold, or is it about having enough energy to get through a crazy day? It's a simple question on the surface, but the answer goes way deeper. And here we go. The World Health Organization has a pretty clear definition, and look at those key words: complete well-being. That means physical, mental, and social. So it's not just about your body. It's also about your headspace and the people you connect with. This bigger picture is the key to everything we're about to talk about. Okay, so if we want to protect this complete state of well-being, we first have to know what we're up against, because the challenges to our health have changed a lot. And today, we're basically fighting a war on two different fronts. This chart lays it out perfectly. On one hand, you've got communicable diseases, the classic germs, the stuff that spreads from person to person. But on the other hand, you've got non-communicable diseases, or NCDs, and those are tied directly to our lifestyle, our diet, and our environment. So think of it like this. One is an outside invader, and the other often grows from the inside, from our daily habits. And that difference is a huge deal, because the main battlefield has shifted. For a long time, our biggest enemies were infections. But now, for so many of us, the bigger threat comes from these lifestyle-related conditions. This isn't just a small change, it's completely reshaped our entire approach to health. And if you want to understand the scale of this shift, just look at that number. Over 100 million people in India are living with diabetes. That is not just a statistic. That's a massive health crisis that affects millions of families and puts a huge strain on the entire healthcare system. And what's a major driver of that crisis? Well, this number right here. Nearly 30% of the population is dealing with obesity, which, as we know, is a huge risk factor for things like diabetes and heart disease. When you put these numbers together, you really start to see how massive the challenge of NCDs is. But here's the good news. These challenges are not unbeatable, not even close. We actually have an amazing defense system built right into our bodies. And over the years, science has given us some seriously powerful tools to make it even stronger. So let's talk about how we build that shield. This is it. This is your personal security force on duty 24/7. Your immune system is constantly patrolling, identifying threats, and taking them out. It's the absolute hero of this story, and our main job is just to support it. And you know what? Sometimes supporting our immune system is incredibly simple. Take hand washing. It's not magic, it's just mechanics. The soap and the friction literally lift the germs off your skin, and then the water just washes them right down the drain. It's such a simple act, but it has a huge impact. How huge? Try 50%. Regular hand washing can slash your risk of certain infections by up to half. That makes it one of the most effective and cheapest public health tools we've ever had. Okay, so washing germs off our hands is great for a first line of defense. But what about the ones that get past that? For the really big threats, we needed a more advanced strategy. We needed a way to give our immune system a training manual, a sneak peek at the enemy before the real fight even starts. And that leads us to one of the greatest stories in the history of medicine. It all started with a simple observation from Dr. Edward Jenner. He noticed that milkmaids who got a mild disease called cowpox never seemed to catch the deadly smallpox. So he had this idea, maybe one was protecting them from the other. He tested it, it worked, and that single idea led to the world's first vaccine, which kicked off a global campaign that completely erased a killer disease from the face of the earth. I mean, that is one of science's all-time greatest victories. So how do we take all these lessons and apply them today? We need a modern playbook. One that gives us strategies for both of those threats we're facing, the communicable ones and the non-communicable ones. All right, when it comes to NCDs, the playbook is all about your daily choices. It's not one big thing, it's all the little things combined. Eating real food, moving your body, getting enough sleep. None of this is a secret, right? But their combined power against those chronic diseases we talked about is absolutely immense. Think of every good choice as a deposit into your health bank account. Now, let's look at the other front, bacterial infections. Here, the total game changer was the discovery of antibiotics. It started with Alexander Fleming's famous accident with penicillin back in 1928. All of a sudden, we had this miracle drug that could stop deadly infections cold. But that miracle tool is now facing a really serious threat. And this is that threat. It's one of the biggest public health challenges we have right now. To put it simply, the bacteria are outsmarting our drugs. They're evolving, building up defenses, and making our antibiotics useless. And that turns what used to be a simple infection into a life-or-death situation. So how does this actually happen? Well, in any big group of bacteria, there are always a few that are naturally a bit tougher. When we use an antibiotic, it wipes out all the easy targets, but it leaves those tough guys, those superbugs, behind. And with all the competition gone, they're free to multiply like crazy, creating a whole new army that our drugs can't beat. It means every time we misuse antibiotics, we're actually helping to create the problem we're trying to solve. So, as we start to wrap this up, it really all comes back to that timeless piece of wisdom that we've all heard a million times. Everything we've covered today, from what you eat to the medicines you take, it's all rooted in this one powerful idea. So what are the big takeaways from our modern health playbook? Well, first, your daily choices are your absolute best defense against those chronic NCDs. Second, things like vaccines and good hygiene protect not just you, but everyone around you. And third, using antibiotics wisely is a responsibility we all share to make sure they still work for future generations. It's a whole system, and you are right at the center of it. So I'll just leave you with this final thought. Your health isn't just something you have, it's something you have to build and protect every single day. So what's one thing you can do today to invest in your most valuable asset? Thanks so much for joining me.